Welcome back to Nets and Net Podcast, College Football Edition. Today we're going to talk about the transfer portal, everybody that's leaving, everybody that's coming. We'll also talk about who's leaving for the draft, as well as opting out of bowl games, who needs to be replaced, who doesn't, and then at the end, kind of brief touch about the college football playoff games coming up. But now I'm going to swing it over to Caleb.
Yo, what's up, guys? I'm going to go through some of the transfers here, and our guru, Sam, is going to give us his thoughts on each of them. So, our first transfer is a running back from Arkansas, Rocket Sanders, committing to South Carolina. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, so Rocket Sanders, he comes in. He coming off a really good year last year at Arkansas. I like what he's done. We see him. He's very good in the passing game. He's very coming off a season, 209 yards, 2 touchdowns on 60 carries. A down year from what he did last year, but we forget he did split carries this year with their other running back, I believe. What's his name? Off the top of my head. He split time with Isaiah Augustave. So we didn't get to see much of Raheem Rocket Sanders, but I feel like in this new system going to South Carolina, who do need a new running back, he can come right in, fit right in their system, and because they kind of play like a up-tempo a hybrid of a West Coast. So a lot of RPOs, getting him out in the space. And like I said, he's a very elusive back, so he can get in. He can catch the ball from the outside as well as block from as well in the run game.
Our next one, Kyle McCord, someone I know very well, watching OSU a lot this season.
Yeah,
Kyle McCord. Syracuse.
Yeah, Kyle McCord, Syracuse. He had 22 touchdowns, 5 interceptions for almost 4,000 yards. Not a bad quarterback, I think, going to a team like Syracuse. Had a very bad year. I believe went 4-7. Have a new coach. I believe he is the Georgia offensive coordinator. I believe Syracuse hired him, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they fired their coach, bring him in. I think McCord fits this because he needs the experience if he wants to be a better player. But getting him, I think it fits him. I don't think he was ready for at Ohio State, but yeah. And yeah, they're former. They did hire the former defensive back coach Francis Brown from Georgia, who we've seen Georgia this year, unbelievable. So bringing in Kyle McCord, I think, helps them kind of turn their program around. But we'll see. He needs the experience, but we're thinking this guy's coming off an 11-1 season at Ohio State, and not only a handful of players have done that. So we'll see how he does. I like the move. I think he needed to get out of the spotlight.
Does that leave an opening for Cam Ward to come in?
That one's a tough one now because Cameron Ward right now, according to 24 Sports, is pretty much it's down between Miami or the draft. So he could go to the U. That means Ohio State might not get one of these top quarterbacks. We already seen Dylan Gabriel off the board headed to Oregon. Got the stamp of approval from Marcus Mariota. Thank God we got him. And then as well as Howard is still out there. From Kansas State, we saw good things from him, but there's a chance that he's headed over to USC, with USC missing out on Will Rogers, who committed to Washington. The second all-time in passing in the SEC, Will Rogers is heading to UW over at Washington to replace Michael Penix Jr. We already seen Tyler Van Dyke commit to Wisconsin, and then Grayson McCall to NC State, as well as I forget the other quarterback who committed to North Carolina. Off the top of my head, I can't remember his name.
The new one that committed to North Carolina?
Yeah, to replace Drake May. I want to. Was it Max Johnson? I believe it was Max Johnson. Yeah, I think it was Max Johnson at a Texas A&M who went there, and then Riley Leonard the other good quarterback off the board, committing to Notre Dame to replace Sam Hartman, which we all saw that. But Ohio State, they could rock with Devin Brown. Let's see how he does in this bowl game. If not, they're bringing in Aaron Noland. They're like 4 or 5 star recruit quarterback who could be something. He's a good dual threat quarterback. He can run with his legs. He isn't the best thrower, but he can throw the ball pretty well. He's just not as accurate. But there also you have Malik Murphy out there in the portal from Texas who could be a valuable option right now. He's probably looking at Duke, I think, is his top option. And then with KJ Jefferson now in the portal from Arkansas, there's another running quarterback, kind of like running style quarterback that you could go out and get. Or Dante Moore, but I doubt Dante. I think Dante Moore is probably leaning towards going back to Oregon, where he decommitted last year to go to UCLA. And then DJ Ungalele will probably go to Florida State, if anything. But yeah, I think Ohio State could be fine with what they have in that position. Let's see what Travion Henderson and Marvin Harrison and Denzel Burke do. They all said that they're going to play. Well, Marvin Harrison hasn't said yet, but Travion Henderson and Burke have said they're going to play in the bowl game, but they have not decided on if they're going to go to the draft afterwards or come back. But you never know.
Yeah, and there's a thing with Devin Brown. I saw he was getting interviewed about how a lot of people are saying it's not a real game. It's not that no one really cares, and that he was very frustrated with that. I think maybe because he's getting a chance to show it off in the game because McCord's leaving. But yeah, honestly, as an OSU fan, not really that excited about this game. To be fair. Probably gonna turn it on, but it's not gonna be like a normal bowl game.
And the thing with me with Kyle McCord, it's the reason he transferred is because Ryan Day sat down with him and said he can't guarantee a starting quarterback spot right there. And that shows Kyle McCord. If you look at Ohio State quarterbacks, they don't transfer really that much. They stay and fight for their job. They fight for that first position. Kyle McCord shown that he's not an Ohio State quarterback. He doesn't have that mentality of staying and fighting for a spot. And we've seen that. We've seen Cardell stay and fight for his position when he comes off winning a national championship. He starts, but he stays. He doesn't transfer. You see JT Barrett didn't transfer after being benched. Same with Braxton Miller. Same with Justin Fields, CJ Stroud. They didn't transfer. They didn't leave. When they weren't the starters, they waited their turns. That's what you do as an Ohio State quarterback. Troy Smith had to wait his turn. And those guys. And you see Kyle McCord going, oh, they're bringing in Aaron Nolan, a 5-star. They have Devin Brown still. I'm not going to start. I want to start. I just came off 11-1. Then prove that you can start, and you can start the next season, and you can win games. If you can't, then you're going. And that just shows you that you're not – at Ohio State, you have to fight for your position, and and we saw it again. He was going to transfer to Nebraska. They find out they're flipping the number one recruit in Dylan Renola, the number one quarterback from Georgia to Nebraska, and then he goes, oh, I'm not committing to Nebraska anymore, so I'm done. I'm going to Syracuse where I know I'm going to start. That just shows that he's going to struggle if he tries to go to the NFL, if he tries to go anywhere else, he's going to struggle to get playing time if he won't fight for a spot. That's just how it is.
Okay, next one, Dylan Gabriel.
Dylan Gabriel. Oh, I'm super pumped about getting Dylan Gabriel. We're talking about a guy that threw for over 40 touchdowns alone and ran for 12 over 5,000 yards. Dylan Gabriel was a Heisman favorite for most of the season, and then Oklahoma started losing games because that is Oklahoma. They just can't do it on the defensive side. That fits Oregon. If Oregon can kind of keep the core players around them, yes, we're losing Troy Franklin, our best receiver that we've seen in years. We're losing Bucky Irving, but we still have those guys that can step up. Tez Johnson, Bo Nix's brother. We have Patrick Herbert. We have Jordan James in the waiting. We have all these guys coming in, and we're going to make some plays in the transfer portal. Dylan Gabriel just fits him. He's another Hawaiian quarterback, just like Mariota. He's wearing the number 8. He got the stamp of approval. Dylan Gabriel, we bring him in because I think we needed that veteran quarterback again. We saw what we did with Bo Nix. Bo Nix was a good quarterback his first year at Auburn. And then in that system in the SEC, he just struggled each year. He goes and gets a new situation and he Should have won the Heisman if they would have won the Pac-12. He would have won the Heisman completely over Jaden Daniels if he would have won the Pac-12. Dylan Gabriel could do the same thing. He could replicate what they did with Bo Nix. I think Bo Nix is more accurate and completions and has a little bit smarter decision making and not throwing it into double coverage, reading his progressions correctly, going through his reads better than Dylan. But Dylan has the arm. Dylan can launch that ball. I've seen him play in real life when he played 3 years at UCF when they played Cincinnati in the AAC, and then he goes over and plays at Oklahoma, balls out. We got a gem here. I think he was a better quarterback than Cam Ward when he entered the portal.
Okay. Next one, Riley Leonard committing to Notre Dame.
I think we all saw that one coming. He just screams Notre Dame. He's really close with Sam Hartman, and I think it just fits him really well. So that I think that was the most obvious choice where he was going to go.
Okay. All right. Tyler Van Dyke going to Wisconsin.
Yeah, I mentioned Tyler Van Dyke. Luke Fickell in the second year brings in a veteran quarterback like Tyler Van Dyke. Tyler Van Dyke did get benched halfway through the season at Miami. He was having a struggle. He was struggling. Just decision making wasn't great. He struggled to get points on the board, struggled to get the ball down the field. I think him going to Wisconsin with the quarterback guru and like Luke Fickell, who is good with kind of getting quarterbacks to like form better. Yes, he's more of a defensive coach, but he still can get the job done. So it'll be interesting. I do like Tyler Van Dyke going to Wisconsin.
All right, and our last one, Will Rogers going from Mississippi State to Washington.
Yeah, Will Rogers, like I said, he's one of the best quarterbacks in this class. He was, I believe, he is the second highest passing in the SEC. He can pick up where he left off this season. He didn't have a terrible season. He did have that injury kind of history, and he at Mississippi State. He had 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions for 1,000 yards. At Mississippi State, he goes in and will replace Michael Penix, and that's a huge tall to ask because Michael Penix we saw had a phenomenal year. So we'll see what happens with that incident. But look for him to have a good year. Let's see how it mainly sees how Washington does next year. They are losing a bunch of players, which I'll mention in a little bit. But yeah, I like the move. He enters the portal. He's a good pickup. I thought Ohio State was going to go after him for a second, but I like the move. To be honest, he is the second in the SEC in career passer. I think he fits the way that Kalen DeBoer plays, and like a quarterback that can somewhat run, but also can throw the ball downfield quick. And I like the choice.
Mm-hmm. So now I think we'd like to cycle into the playoffs and how each team's going to do in that. And before we get into that, I just want to say yesterday, big win for the Bobcats of Ohio University in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Let's go.
Beat Georgia Southern, big win. And that's impressive with how many people are in the transfer portal.
Right, that's a whole other episode we could do on the transfer portal. Our team. Yeah. So. It was interesting with the turquoise turf, but yes. Anyways, back to bigger games.
Yes. So we have the bowl games coming up, and we have New Year's 6 bowl games. Start with the New Year's 6 bowl games. First of all, it's Ohio State, Missouri. I slightly like Ohio State in this, but it all comes down to who's playing. And if is it Ibuka and Travion Henderson said they will play in it. Same with Burke. Ibuka's up in the air. Travion Henderson and Burke said they will play in it, but then their future is undecided. Marvin Harrison is still a game-time decision. Usually in these bowl games, if you're not in a college football playoffs, this is a lot of times where your depth will play, and you'll see a lot of people. The problem with is Ohio State doesn't have that anymore. half of their team has jumped into the portal, or they're seniors and they're opting out for the draft. Like, their entire defense could look totally different. Like, we could see Gabe Powers playing some linebacker due to the fact that you have Cody Simmons, Steele Chambers, Tommy Eichenberg, all seniors. They're going to the draft. They're high on Mel Kiper's board draft. They're high draft as linebackers. You have your cornerbacks. Proctor's a senior. Latham's a senior. They might not be playing. The cornerback out of Oklahoma, I forget his name, Oklahoma State that came over last year. He's a senior. Denzel Burke, he's a redshirt sophomore, but he is eligible for the draft because of the age, and he's a junior. So if Ohio State doesn't get to play with their more of their good guys, then I'm going Missouri. I think Missouri has a chance to show why. And Missouri had a great year, 10-2 this year. It'll be a good game, but let's see how Devin Brown does. The second game, we have Chick-fil-A Bowl, Ole Miss, Penn State. We'll see how Penn State does. Their main person they're missing is their guy, Chop Robinson. He is a number 4 outside linebacker on Mel Kiper's big board. He is my number 2 outside of Latu on the outside. Let's see what Drew Otler can do. Let's see what he can do. We've seen him struggle over the past few times, but we'll see. I like Penn State in this one. Lane Kiffin, he's a good coach.
Ole Miss. Yeah, I was about to say, I'm going Ole Miss.
I just think even with Chop Robinson not playing, you still have Adrisa Isaac there. You still have some of those big boys on that defensive line that's going to cause some havoc for Ole Miss. And then the next game you have is the Capital One Bowl game, Georgia versus Florida State. The only one missing out of that is Johnny Wilson. Their 6'7" receiver. He put up 1,000 yards and 8 touchdowns this season. He did miss a few games with injury. I think he'll be a big miss, but also, Jordan Travis, it's not going to be a fun game for Florida State. They're going to get smacked by Georgia.
Yeah, I agree. I think
Georgia,
it's going to blow out.
I think Georgia, the only person they're missing is Brock Bowers, probably, who's going to go to the draft. But we've seen Georgia without Brock Bowers, and they're still amazing. I think Georgia will win. And then the last game on the New Year's 6 bowl games is you got the Fiesta Bowl, number 23 Liberty taking on number 8 my Oregon Ducks.
How do you get number 23, dude? That's ridiculous. That's going to be a blowout.
Hey, they won the conference championship.
It's going to be a blowout.
And guess what? Bo Nix is playing.
Yeah, it's over. Don't even bother.
No Troy Franklin. No Bucky Irving, though. No Jackson Power, who is the unanimous best center in the country this year. In his first year starting, he's going to the draft too, so we won't have him. No Kyrie Jackson, the transfer from Bama last year. Hopefully, maybe Brandon Dorlus plays. Hopefully, Jordan Burch plays and he doesn't go to draft, because if we can go out and get like a Trey Moore out of UTSA, we go get Overton out of Texas A&M, or we get Patrick Payton out of Texas A&M as well in the transfer portal, we could have a scary defense. And we have Mateo Ungalele coming out next year in his second year, so hopefully he gets it. But yeah, Oregon's going to get that up on January 1st. And then to the bigger
don't even
games.
bother.
Mm-hmm. So that's the first game on January 1st at 1 p.m., starting off the day. And then at 5 p.m., we have the first conference CFP semifinals, the Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California. The number 1 team, Michigan, versus the number 4, Alabama. Big news going up into this. Alabama hired the former coach, offensive coordinator, who got fired this season from Michigan because they sucked, and now he is one of their new OCs at Bama. So is that a smart move? That is a big play move by Nick Saban.
That's a smart move. What are you talking about? He knows all the plays. He knows the plays.
Exactly. You bring in
Michigan doing
so. Bama hired ex-Michigan assistant George Hilo to their coaching staff ahead of the CFP matchup versus the Wolverines. So
someone else is doing what Michigan did to Michigan, who did the other teams. Oh, they know all their plays, all their sides.
Connor Stallion was a scout. That's different. They actually
No, I know, but I'm saying that they're doing what they did to other teams now.
Yeah, but they're doing it the right way. They went out and got the free agent coach. Like Michigan fired this guy because that was so bad. So now they have him coming in.
And he's not going to actually coach. He's just going to open up the playbook.
He's coaching.
He's just going to open up the
playbook
here. That's what they do.
Lost a few people. I think we have some technical difficulties. But yeah, he's coming in. Yeah, we can hear you now. I think there's a couple technical difficulties there. But yes, Bama hires Michigan's coach, assistant coach, which I thought was hilarious. So
yeah, it was funny.
Now people are going to be like, oh, they're still science, but now we can say they did it the right way.
They're allowed to do it.
Yeah, there's no crime in hiring a former coach that was fired. So he comes in.
Yeah,
I think
Bama's going to win this game.
I think Bama's going to win because J.J. McCarthy has not played a good defense since Ohio State and Penn State have been the two defenses that have given them a time. And we've seen it against Penn State. He threw 6 of 7 for 79 yards against the Penn State defense, who's top 5 in defense. And then you play a top 10 defense in Ohio State and barely throw for the ball, and you run the ball with Blake Corum. This is not like, yes, both defenses are good in the pass game and in the run game, but Bama's defense, we're talking about guys that are hard-hitting. Chris Braswell, Dallas Turner. You got Kool-Aid McAstrid on the backside. You have the likes of Branch, and you have Keelan Rings. Like, you have good defense. That defense is really good. They're going to hit you hard. Like, I saw a highlight thing of Dallas Turner hitting the quarterback, and he's always getting penalized because he's nailing these guys. He's going to hurt someone in a minute. But Bama, I like Bama in this. Like I mentioned, if Bama can get healthy, that's the one thing that Bama's struggled with all season, is having a healthy defensive team, because they've struggled. Like, their offense is good. They're finally playing to Jalen Milroe. They got Jace McClellan running. They have Jamie Burton. So they can. Yeah.
Okay.
They can do good. It's just their defense, because their defense hasn't been healthy all season.
Yeah.
And you lose last year a Will Anderson, you lose a Henry Totoa, but you have, like I said, you still have Chris Braswell, who's really good linebacker. You have Tim Smith on the defensive end. You have so many good guys. And like I said, Dallas Turner, if he's been playing lights out all season. If you get Jalen Keys, Tony Mitchell, Malachi Moore all healthy, Michigan's going to struggle, and they can shut down the run game quick. So I like Michigan to lose in this game against Bama.
Me too. Yeah, I think it'll be a two-score game maybe for Bama.
I can see two or 3
Because they've been overlooked the entire season, including me. I was like, "Oh, Bama's done. This is amazing," and then they end up.
Yeah, well, they finally play to Jalen Milroe's skills, not Jalen Milroe's playing to their new OC.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. And then we have the 8:45 game, the Allstate Sugar Bowl,
which is
number 3 Texas versus number 2 Washington.
Let's go Texas. I'm calling Texas win.
If I was on Corso, I'd put it on, but I'm gonna go horns down.
Of course.
I'm sorry. They struggle in the red zone. Yes, they have.
Wait, what would Washington be like this then?
It's like this.
Or I guess you could just do it like this.
Yeah, it's like they cross the finger. They cross it like this.
Yeah.
It's like that. It's weird.
So it's not that different, but that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think Washington's really good. I mean, they have a good team.
Interesting.
Texas, I'm taking them.
Could be interesting. It depends on which Texas team shows up. Texas has played one good defense this entire season. Let's be real. And that was Bama. And they barely beat Bama. And this is Texas They don't have their star running back, who's had a great season, Jonathan Brooks.
They don't have their star
They
running
have,
back, who's
yes,
had
they
a
have
great season, Jonathan
Adonis
Brooks.
Mitchell, who is in
Adonis
contention to get his
Mitchell,
third
who is in contention to get
CFP
his third
championship.
CFP,
Like,
yeah.
He could get another championship in 3 years because he did it with
could get
Bama
another
and he did it with,
championship in
or
3
he
years,
did
'cause
twice with Georgia,
Bama, and
did it with Bama, so
or
he
he did
technically
twice
could
with
get
Georgia,
4.
did it with Bama, so he technically could 4.
They have Xavier Worthy, who's really
They have
good.
Xavier Worthy, who's
but
really
Quinn
good.
Ewers, he struggles in the red
But
zone.
Quinn
They've
Ewers, he
struggled in
struggles
the red zone.
They've struggled in the red zone.
He's not going to struggle. This is going to be his coming out party right here.
They have good weapons. They got Javen Sanders. They got, like I mentioned, Xavier Worthy. They got Jordan Whittingham. They got some guys. Adonis Mitchell is their best guy on the outside. Their defense is where it's going to get shafted. They have Trayvon Sweat, who's very good. But outside of that, their defense isn't great. They also play.
It'll be a lot of scoring. It'll be a lot of scoring, and
100%.
Texas will score at the end of the game, and I think they'll win. I think it'll be a super close game.
Oh no! I haven't even talked about Washington yet. I'm rooting for Washington. I'm rooting for Washington in this college football playoffs.
Of course.
They got to rep the Pac-12.
Oh my gosh! Of course.
We're done with the Pac-12. This is the last Pac-12 action we'll see. You got Michael Penix, the Heisman Trophy winner, which is weird to me because we're talking about Bo Nix winning the Heisman if he wins the Pac-12. Why weren't we having the same conversation with Michael Penix? But he wasn't even in the conversation between Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix.
Seemed like it was just media hype then.
Well, it wasn't because we're saying Bo Nix can win the Heisman if he wins the Pac-12. We're not saying the same thing for Michael Penix, which was weird.
That's what I'm saying. They were just hyping it up.
Yeah, and it was weird. Bo Nix should have, if he won the Pac-12, should have won the Heisman. Jaden Daniels, yes, should have won the Heisman too, because he put up unbelievable stats. But Washington all around is better. They got Dylan Johnson on the running back. If he can get going against this lackluster Texas defense, he's going to run all over. And I'm not, and I got to pinpoint it. Washington has the best trio receivers. I've been saying it all season. Romeo Odunze is a deep threat downfield. You throw that ball up in the air, he's going up and getting it. He's so good. Then you have Jalen McMillan in the slot. He's finally healthy. Get him going in that slot. Then you have Jalen Polk, who stepped up big time. And I'm not even talking about Jermaine Bernard and Denzel Boston, who've actually done a very good role this year. Their offensive line is very good. They have probably 2 or 3 that could go within the first 3 rounds, especially Troy Fautuna. And then you have the likes of Sonia Fasulo, who also could go in the top 2 rounds. And then on the defensive side, you have very good pass rushers. Braylon Trice, who's probably the best Russian in the draft coming up. And then you have ZTF, who's Zion Tufola, who's been a leader. He's been there all 5 years. I think maybe even 6.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 are going to get after the quarterback. They're going to get after Quentin Fast.
So you say Washington then?
Oh, yes.
So then in the final for yours, it would be Alabama versus Washington. And who do you have in that one then? I have Texas going all the way, but against Bama.
I'll take Washington.
Washington over Bama.
It's going to be a good. That game's going to be good.
I don't know if they have the experience. Like usually Washington's never in these type of games.
We haven't seen them since Jake Browning. But this team is veterans. Like Asa Turner's a senior. You have Jabari Muhammad, a junior. ZTS, a 6-year senior. Braylon Trice is a 5th year. Like their experience. Washington's a good team.
It just seemed like Washington came on the scene this year, like after being out for a while.
They were good last year.
So what would your score prediction be if you were to predict Bama versus Washington right now?
It's gonna be high scoring.
In that case, I would pick Bama, but in my scenario, I'm picking Texas.
They both can score big. Jalen Rose has picked it up. I'm gonna say 35-30.
Okay.
I think that could be it. The Texas game could go either way. It could be low scoring or it could be high scoring.
Yeah. I'll say like 38 to 35 or something like that. It's gonna be close.
Yeah, I can see that.
So, okay.
But yeah.
Anything else to add to this conversation? We'd like to talk about that.
No, not really. I think once the season's all over, then we can dive more into the transfer portal and into the draft and see who's going and who's staying. So right now we're just kind of it's like the early stage.
Yeah, we just started the bowls.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. Well, we'll just have to sit here and find out with football. So. All right.
So we'll
Thanks
see
for
you
listening
guys.
and follow us on all our pages and like our stuff, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep. We'll try to get this out tomorrow or Tuesday. So see you guys soon. Peace.